Someone asked, can you tune VW and Audis in California? You can. We are based in California. We've been able to build one of the, I would say, I think safe to say, one of the biggest and best Volkswagen Audi tuning companies in the world, right here in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is about 15, 20 minutes south of here. Like Apple and Google and Yahoo and eBay, and maybe you heard of those companies. But California emissions are the most strict in the country. Typically, CARB, or California Air Resources Board, sets the most strict environmental, air, and water policies in the country that other states eventually adopt. But California prides itself in being slightly ahead. And you know what? I can understand it. We're the fifth biggest economy in the world, 40 plus million people living in one state. And, if you look back on the smog in Los Angeles and San Bernardino Valley from the 70s and 80s, truly some of the worst smog in the world. California's strict emission standards have helped places like Los Angeles have much cleaner air. It's still not perfect, but it's orders of magnitude better than it was in the past. It used to be you could never see downtown. The skyscrapers, they were just, you couldn't see the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, and you had no idea there were like mountains outside of town.
Yeah.
You could normally see.
And now you can. You can see the mountains, you can see the skyscrapers, and sometimes you see the haze and smog. But overall, there's a lot we can do with cars. These laws and this kind of strict regulatory environment has really shaped the way we do product development, the way we do engineering. It's helped us focus more on chassis and handling parts. And if you look at our catalog, you'll see that the bulk of our products are for suspension and handling improvements. And we've really invested a lot in our factory ECU recalibration program, which typically allows a very clean and smog-friendly modifications, especially now that we're getting these CARB approvals on our tuning, specifically 3.0T, 2.0T to start with. So if we were in somewhere that didn't have any smog restrictions, we may still be doing big turbo kits and headers and that kind of stuff. So, but we're now a company that offers, like for example, for the B8S4, world-class handling and chassis dynamics with 500 horsepower with factory cats.
Yep.
I mean, these are not your slow smog cars of the 70s. These are fast, clean, really well-running supercars as far as power and performance goes. So thanks to these laws and regulations, we've been able to do that. Now, I think another area that you could look at that has some of the most strict rules and regulations in the world is F1 racing. And look at the kind of technological advancements that come out of F1. So sometimes when there's more restrictions, the creativity has to increase substantially to deal with those limits and regulations. I think F1's a great example. Certainly look at California companies and automakers. All the automakers in the world are rushing to meet California air quality standards. Right. Because ultimately it represents the best technology and the best implementation of the engine creating power cleanly.
Yeah, and that's the big. I think it's an excellent point. Is all these auto manufacturers are trying to also set big power numbers and advertising numbers with these cars, so they have to have components that can both meet emissions and the power.
They have to do both, and if it wasn't for the regulations, they just do.
We're kind of lucky in that they're dumping a ton of resources into doing that, and you kind of get to ride on those coattails and do the same.
Yeah. So, some of our other competitors are in the middle of nowhere in Alabama or whatever, and, they have no local restrictions really. But in the national and international market, there are restrictions. So someone's asking, why is California so big for being home to a ton of auto tuning companies and aftermarket suppliers, yet they have the strictest laws and rules? Why not Florida or something? Well, I'll refer you back to earlier when I believe I answered this pretty succinctly. The other thing is the center of the automotive universe is kind of in Los Angeles.
In the automotive aftermarket, yeah.
automotive aftermarket, but also
and design firms. And
automotive. Most OE manufacturers have design studios in the Los Angeles area, and I would say automotive culture in general. So if you look at Chip Foose and a lot of these kind of well-known auto, Jay Leno, um, a lot of it goes on in LA, and so I know for us. We constantly find ourselves going down to Los Angeles. Used to be all the magazines were there.
all the media was there, so
Um,
all of our events used to be.
There's kind of no more magazines anywhere, so there's almost none left in LA either. Although I believe Super Street's still down there. But Eurotuner used to be down there. European Car used to be down there. Again, is in LA, right? So so there's a theme. So, and then just to briefly touch on what I spoke about earlier, the strictness in the laws almost makes it a better place for doing car stuff, because some of the smartest, most creative solutions have to be created here to do it. There's plenty of fast cars in California. We have shitty fuel and really strict emissions, and
Yep.
there's still a lot of extremely fast, smog legal cars here.
Yeah, and for us, it's another one of those like not unfortunate benefits, but benefits comes along with it. Where we're getting all these carb certifications coming out now,
Yeah.
and it's easy for us now because we've already been here. We've been tuning on this in this ecosystem for years, and we were able to submit several cars now for carb testing, and they all pass without any problems. It's a local affair for us to do that, and then they're legal for no questions asked for all 50 states because it's a California level of tune.
Yep. So, yeah, but check out our answer earlier in the sometimes this stuff seems counterintuitive, but if you look at the reality, you can see how these dynamics play out.